Solo Travel, coming at you from the Charleston, South Carolina area where I help you live the dream through travel. I'm here to talk to you about something that's very near and dear to my heart and something you may or may not have actually considered when it comes to travel. I know travel is kind of weird right now, but it's important that you plan your trips. Plan your trips. That means think about it. That means consider what your needs are and then sort of put into action the steps and a way to actually get there. Put your money away, make payments on it or use your credit card or save it, and then you'll be ready to go. You won't be stressed out. So it's time to plan your vacation. So there is a type of vacation that I absolutely love. It is awesome. And last year, 2021, I actually took my first one. Can anyone guess what that is? Can anyone guess? Remember, hashtag replay if you're a replay audience viewer, and hashtag live if you're here. So, can anybody guess what I'm going to say or what I know? Because you hear me talking about it if you've been following my posts. Do you have any idea of what type of travel that I might be ready to talk about if you're just tuning in? Well, I'm going to tell you. 7 things you didn't know about river cruising. Okay, so, all right, now, river cruising is not just sailing down the river or fishing or whatever, what have you. My first exposure to river cruising was several years ago, and I used to see the Viking river cruise commercials on TV, and I'm like, wow, that just seems like so much fun. But I just wasn't familiar with the type of ship it was. It just looked weird to me in the commercial. And then everybody in the videos seemed to be like, they're in a nursing home. And I'm like, I don't know if that's for me. But I did try it last year, 2021, the end of 2021. So the demographic is definitely changing. And all ages. You have some younger folks actually taking river cruises as well as people taking their families. You have some multi-generational trips, people going with different generations, like 3 generations. That's a multi-generational trip. Like kids, mom and dad, grandparents, multi-gen. Okay. So, all right. Now, the 7 things you didn't know. I didn't know either till I learned. So, um, river cruising is becoming very, very popular, right? Even before the pandemic, it started to get popular, but it's really popular now. And reason being because of the smaller ship sizes. So compared to your ocean liners, which can go up to 6,500, 6,000, 6,500 passengers and somewhere in between, it's a small ship compared to that. So these smaller ships, they are able to take you through countries where the ocean liners will take you to the countries. The river cruises will take you through the countries. So back in the day before we had railroads and cars and buses and transportation like that, people used the rivers to travel. So the rivers are like a highway. So I took a European river cruise in September. And what I liked about it is the small size. It's more intimate. And you sort of have like a travel bubble. It's like you're traveling in your own little bubble. And I went solo. So for you solo travelers out there, especially you ladies, you female solo travelers, it's a perfect type of travel because even though you're traveling alone, you're not alone. You get to the ship, they pick you up depending on the line. They pick you up from the airport, take you to the ship, they greet you. You get a beautiful cabin. Um, all of the cabins are outside cabins. You don't have inside cabins, okay? So all of them are outside cabins. And depending on what line you are traveling on, it will depend on whether you have the window or a balcony, either a French balcony where the door, you just open it open the doors and they open inward. You can't step out, but you can open it, or your regular step out balcony. Some ships have both. All right, so small ship cruising, you can travel in a travel bubble. So it's a smaller group of people. Um, the tours are included, so you're traveling in groups. They're able to space you out as a more intimate setting. You get to do a lot more. You get to really enjoy the destination more. You don't really spend a lot of time on the ship because you're out doing stuff. That's the good thing about it. All right, so next. Number two, luxury accommodations. So because these ships are smaller, um, in comparison to your ocean liners, they're more luxurious. Although you can get some luxury cabins and some on some of the larger lines. However, though those ships are larger, these smaller ships, they exude luxury. Um, down to the intricate details of the lobby. Where you check in. Um, there's usually a lounge, um, usually, maybe a library, that's on the main deck, as you step on, and then many ships have pools, uh, and they'll do classes they'll be on the upper deck. They'll do classes like fitness classes, as well as have other activities going on there. But there'll be like an exercise room. Generally, they have bikes, so you can take the bikes when you go to shore and take your biking tours. There are a lot of things that you want to do if you're an active traveler, and if you're not such an active traveler, there are things for you to do too. So I wasn't that active, so I did the basic walking tours. There are also hiking tours. So, like I said, luxury accommodations. So this is like the accommodations of that look like my cabin. Let me go back. Luxury accommodations. Okay. So I'm going to make that bigger. So this is an example of a balcony. So that's one where you can step out. I did have a cabin like that where you could step out, and I had a French balcony. So I had two. So you can't really see it, but where the chair is here, there's a French balcony where you can open the French doors and pull it inward and let air into your um, cabin. So there are also personal services. You also get personal services. It's personalized because the numbers are so much smaller. Um, max 200, average max. I think Viking has up to 300. I'm not sure. Up to 200, I believe. But that's really a smaller number of people, and it's really not small when you're on it, but it's not an overwhelming amount of people. So you can have personalized service. You get to learn and know the staff by name. They know you by name. They greeted me by name. They were like, "Hello, Mrs. Holmes, how are you?" They knew me by name. They saw me every day. You got to know your waiters. You had the same waiters, your servers, your wait staff. You got to know them. They spoke to you. You got to know your captain, actually, and you got to know. And in my case, I actually got to know the owner of the company. So I sailed on AMA Waterways, and I sailed, and the one of the owners of the company, it's a husband and wife team. Well, there's a third partner, but husband and wife team. They started, and the wife, Miss Christine Karst, she was on the trip, so I got to meet her. So that's a good thing. The Some of these lines are still owned by families, at least the one that I sailed on, but they're smaller. Get that personalized service. So you get to know the people. You just get excellent, above par service. Another thing, number 4, you unpack once. So I don't know about you, but I like to explore. So I would love to go on a multi-destination trip, but it's a pain in the butt unpacking and packing, and then moving to the next, traveling to the next city, and then unpacking, getting to that hotel, and you this whole cycle of pack, unpack. Well, with a river cruise, you unpack once and you get to explore multiple destinations. So that's what I found to be absolutely fascinating. It was spectacular. It is just one of the, if not the best vacation that I have ever taken. I got to live out my dream, my girlhood dreams. Okay. Um, this is a place in France that I visited called Pont du Gard. I went on a France river cruise, and it was the south of France. And as a girl, I read this book, Madeline. And those of you who may remember, I think they still have it in school, but Madeline was in a boarding school in France. So from the time I was little, when just learning to read and read about Madeline, I always wanted to go to Paris. So on my river cruise, I went through the south of France, and then I added on 3 nights in Paris. It was spectacular. I cannot express to you how spectacular that trip was. So that's Pont du Gard. That is a ancient Roman aqueduct built in the 1st century. That's like the century that Jesus Christ was born, 2,000 years ago. It's 2022. It was built 1st century. Imagine that. And it spans 35 miles from the Alps all the way to the coast. And it's a water bridge. It used to bring fresh, clean water from the mountains down to the coast for the Roman soldiers. Pont du Gard. That's one of the attractions, one of the places that I visited. I walked across it. I touched it. I didn't go all the way down to the river. Some did. I didn't. I went to the little snack bar while they did the hike. Okay, so Pont du Gard. I also, like I said, I ended my tour in Paris, France. So this is just an example of things that you could do on a river cruise. So those are just 2 of the destinations that I told you about. That was the end. Paris was the end. I also visited a town in this province, Provence, France, and I forget the name of the town. It's either Vienne or Toulon, but that is, and I'm going to make it bigger for you so you can see that. That is the temple of Augustus and Livia. Augustus and Livia. And it's still there, the Temple of Augustus and Livia. I had no idea that the Romans had such a large footprint in France. So this is really interesting. So if you're into history and architecture and culture and cuisine, a river cruise is the perfect trip for you. You get to do so many things. I did not stay on the ship. That is, oh, I went too fast. That right there is the remains of an ancient Colosseum, Roman Colosseum in Toulon. That one's in Toulon, France. Um, Amazing, absolutely amazing. The French have done a really good job of restoring these ancient sites and ruins right in the middle of their towns. The little towns, they have ancient ruins in the middle of the towns. So, number 5, the 5th thing you probably didn't know was that there is an array of included activities. So, I went to a truffle farm in France, and there's a truffle dog that actually sniffs out the truffles because truffles are very expensive mushrooms, and they dig them out, and they're a delicacy. So, the farmer has these dogs. And the dog's name's Amy. That was the tour that we went on. The dog dug up and sniffed out the truffles. And on the left, they also had a little shop. This is small business people like we have here in the US in these little towns that you may drive through, right? So they had a shop where they had pâtés where they made out of the truffles. They also grew lavender. They grew lavender in France. So certain parts of France, they grew lavender. So they had lavender soap and lavender oil. I use the soap. I still have the oil. So these are just some of the experiences that you can have. There is a wide array of experiences. You can even have golf cruises. There are such things as golf cruises where you would travel down the river and golf on different golf courses in Europe. Okay, so that was number 5. Number 6. Well, sorry, I forgot about the bike riding. Like I said before, there are biking tours that you can take. Maybe next year. I'll have to get in shape for that. There are biking tours, hiking tours, and walking tours, something for each activity level. There are also wine tours. So there are vineyards all over Europe, and some of the tours go there. They have chocolate and wine tours. They have tours where you go to the vineyard, you sample the wine. I guess I didn't go on that one. I went shopping. So I had an opportunity. You don't have to go on the tours. You could explore on your own. I went shopping. Okay, so here's another experience that I had, and that was in Lyon, where we visited a silk shop. And this silk shop has been in the family of this weaver for centuries. So they actually make the silk. And he did a demonstration. And I bought my husband a hand woven tie by this fellow in Lyon, France, made from, they showed us the silkworm and the pod, how they pull the silk off and how they wind it and make thread out of it. And then they weave it manually in his loom and then make different things. So there's a wide array of activities on a river cruise. There's also award-winning dining. Yes, indeed. So for the most part, we had gourmet meals. So every city that we stopped in, I think it was about 7 days, 7 different ports, right? We had the cuisine that reflected the local area or the town that we were visiting. So actually, when we went to the truffle farm, guess who showed up at the truffle farm to buy truffles? The chef. He showed up there during our demonstration to buy truffles. And what I liked about the river cruise is that you get to know these folks, so we knew who he was. We're like, "Hey, how are you doing?" He came to buy truffles for dinner. So, award-winning cuisine. Everyone gets an opportunity on this cruise line because, dining at the chef's table, you have to pay extra on the ocean liners. On this particular cruise, Waterways, it's all inclusive. So that's another thing that's a benefit of river cruising. Everything's included. All of your excursions are included. Your drink packages, you don't have to buy a drink package, it's included. Everything is included except for the tips, and that's paid at the end. Traditionally, and they give you a suggestion, but it's up to you of what you want to put on your heart. But of course, the staff has treated me so well that you gave them a nice tip, and we were actually grateful. At least I was very grateful for the staff. The housekeeping lady who was assigned to my cabin, she used to leave me chocolate on my pillow several times a day. They cleaned my cabin several times a day. One day, the first day, I didn't even go anywhere because I was just recuperating. I was so tired. She was like waiting for me to go somewhere. I was like, I'm really not going to go anywhere today because I'm tired. She was like, but I have to clean the room. We do it several times a day. So I felt obliged to leave the cabin so she could do her job. And she left me chocolate. So award-winning cuisine. And then number 7, the best part of it all, or at least one of the best parts, is you get to take the scenic route. I can't express to you how spectacular the views were traveling on the river. I was able to open my balcony and step out, but I preferred the French balcony where I could just sit there with the windows open or the balcony open rather than stepping out. Um, I that was just me. I just preferred it. But you get to see the scenic route, and this was in Europe. So this is just an example of the scenic route. You get to explore the scenic route. You get to see the views while you're traveling, while you're cruising. So that's basically it. I just wanted to give you the rundown on the 7 things that you don't know about river cruising, right? Things you didn't know about it. Well, now you know. So, um, it's an excellent option if you want to avoid the crowds, but you like um, to take trips and excursions and you like to explore at a leisurely pace. You don't have to worry about trains, planes, and automobiles. Everything is included. They bus you when you get to the next port. We had like motor coach. Everyone was socially distanced. Um, Nice motor coaches and the tour guides. You have your headset on and she's got her mic and she's talking. You can hear and we drove through some beautiful countryside. So she or he, because there were several, they were local tour guides. They talked about the area that they lived in and that they loved so much. So that's basically all I really had to talk to you about. Those 7 things, except one more thing. Remember cruise night. Okay, I'm having a cruise night. That is this coming Thursday, the 20th of January at 6 p.m. Eastern Time. The link is in the description. Please sign up. Then you will get a link to join. So, there's the cruise night is going to be featuring Enchanting Rhine River Journeys, and that's a river cruise in Europe going to 4 countries, starting in Switzerland, France, Germany, and ending in the Netherlands. And it's planned for fourth quarter. So, um, plenty of opportunity. Very value the value of the trip is it's I can't express to you that it's a spectacular value. There are payment options. There's travel insurance. There is trip protection in case you should cancel and you need to get your money back. There are options available. Just sign up and be there or be square. So this is Priscilla with Scylla Travel signing off, hoping that you have a great rest of your evening. And oh, hello, I see you. Glad to see you there. If you have any questions at all, just enter your comments and I will get to it. So this is Priscilla with Scylla Travel signing off. And I just hope that you have a great rest of your day, evening, or if it's midday for you, good day to you. This is Priscilla signing off, hoping that you have a great rest of your day. And remember, as always, live the dream.